Hey everyone, welcome back to English Without Borders, the podcast that helps you speak English with more confidence, one conversation at a time. I'm Jake.
And I'm Anna. So happy you're here with us today.
We really are glad you pressed play. Whether you're getting ready for work, walking somewhere, or just relaxing right now, thank you for spending this time with us.
It genuinely means a lot. Okay, Jake, how are you doing today? How was your morning?
My morning was actually a little stressful, if I'm honest.
Oh no, what happened?
So I had an early call with a client, and right before it started, my internet completely stopped working. Like dead, nothing.
Oh, that's every remote worker's nightmare.
It really is. I was refreshing my router, restarting my laptop, practically begging the internet to come back. And it did, thankfully, but I joined the call 4 minutes late, completely out of breath.
Out of breath from restarting a router?
Emotionally out of breath, yes. What about you? How was your morning?
Mine was calm, actually. I went for a walk, listened to a podcast, had a really good coffee. A nice, slow morning.
I'm a little jealous.
I'll trade you next time. Okay, so speaking of stressful moments at work, I think that's actually a perfect way to lead into today's topic.
Oh, it really is. Because today we're talking about something that so many English learners experience. And honestly, it can feel really frustrating. We're talking about how to stop your brain from freezing in English meetings.
Yes, this topic is so important because I think a lot of learners can have really good English skills. They can read well, they can understand a lot, they can even speak comfortably in casual situations. But then they get into a work meeting in English and suddenly,
Everything just stops.
exactly, the brain just freezes. And it's such a specific, strange feeling. You know the words, you understand the topic, but somehow when it's your turn to speak, nothing comes out.
It's honestly one of the most common things learners tell us about. And today, we really want to dig into why this happens and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Because this isn't really an English problem. It's more of a brain and body problem that happens to show up during English meetings.
That's such an important distinction, and we're going to explain exactly what that means.
Let's do it. But first, quick reminder, if you're enjoying English every day, please hit subscribe. It really helps us reach more learners just like you.
And leave a comment after today's episode. We have a question for you at the end, and we truly love reading everything you share with us.
Okay, brain freezing. Let's talk about it.
Anna, let's start here. Why does this happen? Like, what's actually going on in someone's brain when this freeze happens in a meeting?
Okay, so this is actually really interesting from a science perspective. When we feel stress or pressure, like the pressure of speaking in a meeting, especially in a second language, our brain activates something called the stress response. Sometimes people call it fight, flight, or freeze.
Oh, I've heard of fight or flight, but freeze is the third option, right?
Exactly. So fight means you become aggressive or defensive. Flight means you want to escape the situation. And freeze means you just stop. Your body and brain essentially pause.
And when this happens, blood flow actually shifts away from certain parts of the brain, including the parts responsible for language processing.
Right. So it's not that you forgot English, it's that your brain in that moment is prioritizing survival over communication, which sounds dramatic, but that's really what's happening on a biological level.
That's such an important thing to understand, because a lot of learners blame themselves. They think, my English isn't good enough, when really it's a stress response that would happen to almost anyone in that situation.
Exactly. Even native speakers freeze sometimes in high-pressure situations. Job interviews, public speaking, difficult conversations. This isn't unique to English learners at all.
That's honestly really comforting to hear.
It really is. And once you understand that this is a stress response, not a language failure, you can start addressing the actual cause, which is stress and pressure, rather than just trying to know more English, which often isn't the real problem.
Okay, let's share some personal stories, because I think this connects so well with real experiences.
Yes, let's do it. Jake, you go first this time.
Okay, so this actually happened to me, but in Spanish, not English. I was living abroad for a few months, and I had to go to a meeting with the landlord about renewing my apartment lease.
Oh, that's already high pressure. Money, contracts, important decisions.
Exactly. And I had prepared. I practiced some sentences the night before. I felt ready. But then the landlord started speaking really fast, using words I hadn't prepared for, and I just froze completely. My mind went blank.
What did you do?
I just sat there for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 3 or 4 seconds. And in my head, I was panicking, thinking, say something, anything, come on.
That internal panic makes everything worse too, right? Because now you're stressed about being stressed.
Exactly. It becomes this loop. And eventually, I just said in broken Spanish, sorry, can you repeat that more slowly? And the moment I said that, the freeze broke. Like saying anything, even a simple request, unlocked my brain again.
That's such a powerful insight. Sometimes you don't need the perfect sentence. You just need any sentence to get unstuck.
Exactly. It's like breaking a small piece of ice to release the whole block.
I love that image. Okay, my story is from teaching, actually. I had a student, a really smart, capable guy, great English overall, and he told me about a work meeting where his manager asked him a direct question in front of the whole team.
Oh, that pressure of being watched by everyone.
Exactly. And he told me he completely blanked. He knew the answer, he understood the question perfectly, but he said his mind just went white, and he ended up saying, I'll get back to you on that, even though he actually knew the answer.
That's so relatable. The social pressure made it worse than a simple language challenge.
Right. And afterward, he felt really embarrassed. He told me I sounded so unprofessional. But when we talked through it, I explained that this wasn't about his English level at all. It was about the stress of being watched, evaluated, and put on the spot suddenly.
And I bet just understanding that helped him feel better.
It really did. And we worked together on some specific strategies, which is actually a perfect transition into our main discussion today.
Perfect timing. Okay, let's get into it. What can people actually do to stop this freezing from happening? Or at least recover quickly when it does happen?
Okay, idea number 1, and I think this is the most important one. Prepare small phrases in advance. Not full answers, but bridge phrases.
Oh, this is so smart. Explain what you mean by bridge phrases.
So a bridge phrase is a short, simple sentence that buys you a little time and keeps the conversation moving, even if you haven't fully formed your thoughts yet. Things like, that's a great question. Let me think about that for a second. Or, let me gather my thoughts here.
Oh, I love that. It's like a little tool you keep in your pocket, ready to use whenever you need it.
Exactly. Because the freezing often happens because we feel this pressure to respond instantly, perfectly. But if you have a phrase ready, something automatic, something you don't even need to think about, it takes away that pressure.
It's like a safety net. You know you have something to say even before you know what you're going to say next.
Exactly. And here are a few more examples. Can I come back to that in a moment? Give me just a second to think that through. That's an interesting point. Let me consider it.
These phrases are honestly useful for anyone, not just English learners. Native speakers use these all the time, too.
Completely. And once you have 2 or 3 of these memorized so well that they come out automatically, they become your emergency exit from the freeze.
I really love that idea, an emergency exit. Okay, idea number 2.
Idea number 2, practice out loud, not just in your head.
Oh, this is such an important one.
So a lot of learners prepare for meetings by reading notes silently or thinking through what they want to say in their heads. But there's a big difference between thinking something and actually saying it out loud.
Right, because speaking uses completely different muscles, literally your mouth, your breathing, and mentally, it activates a different kind of processing than just reading or thinking.
Exactly. So if you know you have an important meeting coming up, practice saying your key points out loud beforehand, even just to yourself, in your room, before the meeting starts.
It's kind of like an actor rehearsing lines before going on stage.
That's such a good comparison because even confident actors rehearse their lines out loud, not just silently in their heads. The physical practice of speaking builds a kind of muscle memory.
And when the moment comes in the actual meeting, your mouth and brain have already done a version of this before. It's not completely new anymore.
Exactly. The freeze often happens with completely new, unpracticed moments. But if you've rehearsed even a little, your brain recognizes, oh, I've done something like this before, and that familiarity reduces the panic.
Okay, idea number 3.
Idea number 3, slow down your breathing before speaking.
This sounds simple, but I think it's incredibly powerful.
It really is. So remember how we talked about the stress response earlier? Fight, flight, or freeze? Well, one of the fastest ways to calm that stress response is through your breathing.
Because breathing is one of the few body functions we can consciously control, and it directly affects our nervous system.
Exactly. So before you're about to speak in a meeting, even just for 2 or 3 seconds, take one slow, deep breath in through your nose, out slowly. This sends a signal to your brain that says, we're safe, we're okay.
And that small pause also naturally gives you a second to organize your thoughts, even without trying.
Right. It's doing 2 things at once, calming your nervous system and giving your brain a small window to prepare your words.
I think a lot of people feel like pausing to breathe would look strange or unprofessional in a meeting. But honestly, a short pause is completely normal.
Completely normal. People pause all the time in conversations, even native speakers. A 1 or 2 second pause before speaking looks thoughtful, not awkward.
That's such an important reminder. Okay, idea number 4.
Idea number 4, reduce the pressure of perfection.
Oh, this is such a big one.
So a lot of the freezing happens because learners put enormous pressure on themselves to speak with perfect grammar, perfect vocabulary, no mistakes at all. And that pressure itself creates the freeze.
It's like trying to walk across a tightrope while also thinking about every single step perfectly. The extra thinking actually makes you more likely to fall.
That's such a good comparison. Whereas if you just focus on communicating your basic idea, even imperfectly, the pressure decreases significantly. And ironically, you often speak more fluently.
Right, because your brain isn't fighting itself between communicate the idea and make this grammatically perfect at the same time.
Exactly. So a good mental shift is reminding yourself before a meeting, my goal is to communicate my idea, not to be perfect. If a mistake happens, it's completely fine.
And honestly, in professional meetings, people care much more about your ideas and your input than about small grammar mistakes.
Completely. Nobody in a meeting is silently judging your verb tenses. They're focused on the content, the ideas, the solutions you're bringing to the table.
Great reminder. Okay, idea number 5.
Idea number 5, build familiarity with meeting vocabulary specifically.
Oh, this is such a practical one.
So one reason freezing happens in meetings specifically, even for learners who are comfortable in casual conversations, is that meeting vocabulary is quite specific. Words like agenda, deadline, follow up, action items, touch base, circle back.
Right. These are words you might not use much outside of work contexts.
Exactly. So if these words aren't familiar and automatic for you, your brain has to work extra hard just processing vocabulary on top of everything else happening in a meeting.
So, building comfort with this specific vocabulary in advance really reduces the overall mental load during the actual meeting.
Exactly. And a great way to do this is by listening to English content specifically related to your industry or work context. business podcasts, workplace conversations, even YouTube videos about meeting phrases.
The more familiar these words become, the less mental energy they require, which frees up space in your brain for everything else happening in the meeting.
Precisely. Okay, one more idea before we move to vocabulary review.
Let's do it.
Idea number 6. Remind yourself that a freeze is temporary, not permanent.
Oh, this is such an important mindset shift.
So sometimes when the freeze happens, learners panic even more because they think, oh no, this means I'm not good at English, or this is going to happen every single time now.
Right, that catastrophic thinking makes it feel much bigger than it actually is.
Exactly. But a freeze is just a temporary moment. It happens, it passes, and it doesn't define your overall ability. Even confident, fluent speakers experience moments like this occasionally.
And honestly, the more you remind yourself of that in the moment, the faster the freeze usually passes.
Completely. Because panic actually extends the freeze, while calm acceptance often shortens it.
That's such a helpful perspective. Okay, should we move into vocabulary review?
Yes, let's do it. We've used some really great phrases today.
Okay, first one, freeze or brain freeze. This means to suddenly stop thinking or speaking, usually because of stress or pressure. I completely froze during the meeting. Or she had a brain freeze and forgot what she wanted to say.
Second, bridge phrase. A bridge phrase is a short sentence you use to buy yourself time while thinking, keeping the conversation moving smoothly. Let me gather my thoughts is a great bridge phrase. Using a bridge phrase can help you avoid awkward silence.
Third, put on the spot. This means to suddenly be asked a question or expected to respond immediately, often creating pressure. He felt put on the spot when his manager asked him directly. Or, I hate being put on the spot in meetings.
Fourth, gather your thoughts. This means to take a moment to organize your ideas before speaking. Give me a second to gather my thoughts. Or, she paused to gather her thoughts before answering.
Fifth, touch base. This is common workplace vocabulary, meaning to check in briefly with someone. Let's touch base tomorrow about the project. Or, I wanted to touch base before the meeting starts.
Sixth, circle back. Also common workplace vocabulary, meaning to return to a topic later. We can circle back to that point after lunch. Or, let's circle back to this question at the end of the meeting.
And seventh, nervous system. This refers to the body's system that controls stress and relaxation responses. Deep breathing helps calm your nervous system, or stress activates your nervous system in specific ways.
Great vocabulary today, all really practical for meetings and workplace conversations.
Okay, let's talk action steps. What can our listeners actually do today?
Action step 1. Write down 2 or 3 bridge phrases from today's episode and practice saying them out loud a few times. Get comfortable with how they feel in your mouth.
Action step 2. Before your next meeting or important conversation, practice your key points out loud, even just quietly to yourself. Don't just think them, actually speak them.
Action step 3. Try the breathing technique. Right now, actually. Take 1 slow breath in and slowly out. Notice how that feels. That's the same technique you can use right before speaking in a meeting.
Action step 4. The next time you make a small mistake speaking English, consciously remind yourself, that's okay. My goal is communication, not perfection.
Action step 5. Spend just 10 minutes today listening to meeting-related vocabulary or workplace English content so these words start feeling more familiar and automatic.
Great, practical steps. Okay, let's recap the big ideas from today.
Brain freezing in meetings isn't a sign that your English isn't good enough. It's a natural stress response, the same fight, flight, or freeze response that happens to everyone, including native speakers.
Preparing simple bridge phrases in advance gives you an automatic tool to use whenever you feel stuck, buying you time and reducing panic.
Practicing out loud, not just silently in your head, builds real speaking familiarity and reduces the shock of speaking for the first time in the actual meeting.
Slow, deep breathing calms your nervous system and gives your brain a moment to organize your thoughts.
Letting go of the pressure to be perfect actually helps you speak more fluently because your brain isn't fighting itself between correctness and communication.
Building familiarity with specific meeting vocabulary reduces the overall mental effort required during actual meetings.
And remembering that a freeze is temporary, not permanent, and not a reflection of your overall ability helps you recover from it more quickly when it happens.
Such great practical strategies today.
Okay, comment question time.
Yes, here's our question for today. Have you ever experienced a moment where your brain froze while speaking English? What happened and how did you recover from it?
We would love to hear your stories. And honestly, sharing these experiences helps other learners realize they're not alone in this. It happens to so many of us.
Completely. So please share your story in the comments, even just a short version. It really helps build this supportive community we're creating together.
Before we wrap up today, we just want to say something important. If you've experienced this freezing feeling in meetings, please know it doesn't mean anything is wrong with you or your English abilities.
It really doesn't. It's simply your brain's natural response to pressure, and it's something that even highly fluent speakers experience sometimes.
With the tools we talked about today, bridge phrases, breathing, practicing out loud, releasing perfectionism, you can absolutely reduce how often this happens and recover much faster when it does.
And every single meeting you go into, every conversation you have, is building your confidence little by little, even when it doesn't feel that way in the moment.
You are capable of this, truly. And we are so proud of you for continuing to show up, continuing to try, continuing to grow.
If today's episode helped you, please share it with someone who might be struggling with this same challenge. It could make a real difference for them.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. New episodes come out every week, right here on English Every Day.
Give this episode a like if you found it helpful. It really helps more learners discover this podcast.
All right, until next time, I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake.
Take a breath, gather your thoughts,
And speak with confidence.
bye.